this question of the fiction versus reality, which is a question that I'm always often asked, and it is what around the workshop is about it, using as a model the Morel's invention by BoCA. So this is a bit, it reflects very much this Morel's invention, the way I think about it, in the sense that I do not really think that we're able to apprehend reality with a fiction. So fiction is rather a tool, it's not an opposition between reality versus fiction, but it is rather a tool that we use to understand. Fiction is a tool we use to understand reality. In fact, we have no means to understand reality unless we use a fiction. And this fiction can be more shared with people or completely personal. And when it's shared with people, then we say this is reality, but in fact it's not reality, it's a fiction as well. So when speaking about the situation we are in, the corona situation, this is a typical example of what Lacan said, the irruption of the real. So we had, everything was very well organized, and we thought we could go forever forwards. And then the real came in, and then actually we were totally powerless, and things stopped completely. And we hardly could believe it, because we thought that we could plan and we could do things as if nothing was the matter, and we were going to do this exhibition and we were going to go on holidays, and all of a sudden nothing of this was possible. So in that sense, it's like all of a sudden there is the fiction we have created and shared bumps against reality. And as it is the matter with this kind of thing, is something that happens personally to us very often. We have to quickly create another fiction that is able to hold this reality. And so this is what we're busy with, every one of us, I think. It's hard to keep it short, because it's a very complex question, in the sense, to me, the central question is, like with everything, we see that this is also a question of class. So when I was talking to friends of mine in Mexico, because I'm working on a project in Mexico, and I was saying, so is the country going to stop because of the coronavirus? They said, well, no, the country is not going to stop, because most of the people in Mexico, they have the choice either to confine and not get the coronavirus and die of hunger, or work and get the coronavirus but be able to feed their families. So the choice, the possibility to really social distance is only available to some people. Most of the other people, they will just have to go with business as usual, because they do not have, either they do that or they just die. So in that sense, I think it is really a matter of class, and this class also, of course, regarding the idea of first world, I still like this way of terminology, first world versus third world. So it is really, the first world is the one that had to stop. And it just, as usual, is going to send the problem to the third world and see if the third world can solve the economical crisis for them, because in a way, they don't have any choice. So in that sense, I am considering, of course, all this idea of social distancing, which I, of course, consider as necessary, and I am not what is called a COVIDiot. I am not the people who think that it's an hoax and it is just about manipulating, but really the big problem for me is how you keep your political agency and still respect the common good, still respect the idea of a common health that has to be respected, while at the same time you have to survey or to watch that you don't lose your political agency. Yes, this refers a bit to the first answer I gave to the idea that we actually have no other means to apprehend reality than through fiction. And of course, this has like a personal story in the way that I like to these stories. I have a personal, you only work with what you like. You cannot work with what you don't like. So I work with literature because this is what I like. And often these certain stories are very exemplary stories, like for instance the Ulysses of James Joyce, which is really a kind of parable of human life, the individual versus society, in the same way. So they function a bit like archetypes, and you can use them to guide you through very complex problems. So in that now I chose the Morel's invention, which is really this kind of how do you insert yourself. You are always an outsider. I believe we are basically all outsiders. as an outsider, how do you manage to insert yourself into a society situation, while at the same time knowing that you're never really inserted, that you still belong into a different reality. So this is the kind of thing that I can relate a lot to. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And what kind of rules we observe, almost like scientific rules to make believable this insertion, while at the same time knowing that it's all a game. So I have used this story, as I have used all the other stories, as a sort of archetype to guide us through this through a very complex situation. This is what people read for, or why people see movies, I think, in order to understand, in order to feel less alone, to understand that other people have gone through the same. Yes, so I don't have at all a privileged perspective. In fact, I know about psychoanalysis, what anyone who has read a couple of books of psychoanalysis know. I am really an amateur, so I don't have. I enjoy it, of course. I have always liked it since teenage to read Freud, because I think Freud is a great storyteller. I'm not so sure that it can help anyone to get better, but it is very interesting as a story. And so I have more or less, I read also non-fiction, I read as fiction. So in that sense, I can say it's a very amateur position. But of course, I think literature and psychoanalysis have a lot to do, and art and psychoanalysis have a lot to do with each other, because both of them try to explore the human soul, which is like the ultimate, unknown, is the ultimate unknown. I think what I think is most interesting in psychoanalysis, and what I think can help us right at the moment, is the idea that everything can be understood. So before that, when people were mad, they thought, well, they're just gone. No, but you cannot try to understand what is going on. So what psychoanalysis says, actually, you can understand. There's always, everything is a text, and you can read any text. And I think this is